Problem with the internet.
Greetings and salutations, and we are live and direct from Open Africa MWEZI 1 Habitat in North Hor, Kenya. This is Habitat Director Dr. Claire Nelson calling in and telling the world that we are here. We are here live and direct. I want to say, first of all, that this has been quite an experience. What is MWEZI 1? To make sure, MWEZI 1 is the mission. MWEZI, first of all, is a Swahili word for moon, and MWEZI 1 is short for MWEZI Makazi, which is moon habitat, which is our adopted name for this first moon-based landing taking place in the North Hor region of the Marsabit County in Kenya, which we have selected as a possible destination for a permanent lunar habitat for space analog research. MWEZI 1 represents the dreams and aspirations of many of us who have longed to see Africa have a seat at the table of those who are in the process of doing analog space research to ensure that Africa is not left behind when we are talking, show them your logo, not left behind when we are doing our work and preparing for humans' return to the moon and humanities as a spacefaring civilization. We know, of course, that in the context of the global geopolitics, that 4 African nations have signed the Artemis Accords. They are Nigeria, Angola, Rwanda, and most recently Senegal. And so we feel it important as the officialdom is preparing to return to the moon. And we saw recently that Nigeria Space Agency was able to send Egusi seeds up to the ISS. We feel it important to build out an ecosystem for research and education and training. And so since 2023, we have embarked on a process, a 2-part process, using a gathering called Space Ungana, which takes place every year in July. We have done 3 up till now. We try to be in sync with the International Moon Day, in part as I serve as a Global Goodwill Ambassador for International Moon Day. So we do this in part to make sure, again, that the global south, especially Africa and the Caribbean, are not left out of the conversation. And Moon Village Association is very intentional about trying to ensure that these voices are heard. Another issue is to do with the fact why MWEZI 1. Some will ask, well, why are we doing space in Africa when people can barely feed themselves? Indeed, it's for that very reason why we're doing space in Africa. We know that many inventions that have been found and useful for humanity were designed and used for space missions. And we feel confident that by institutions and academic institutions to the table to solve for ensuring that their countries participate in the ecosystem, we're also going to help them accelerate their solution for some of the challenges that we're back. Marsabit is a very poor and isolated part of Kenya. The people are pastoralists. They suffer a lot from drought and floods, alternatively. And so there's a lot of challenges that they face on a regular basis. So we believe that by doing analog space research allows us to solve using space for the SDGs. It's been very well noted by the UN Office for Outer Space Affairs that space is very important to accomplishing the SDGs, be it for agriculture, be it for telehealth, be it for teleeducation, be it for urban planning, be it for water resource management, you name it, and we can claim it. So we believe that by doing MWEZI 1 in a place like Marsabit, where we are embedded on land which is owned by the Garber people, managed in part with the community-based organization Juhudi Mashinani, we are able to partner with them and the elementary school on whose land we're currently sitting. We have found that they're indeed very interested in science, and I must commend them for the wonderful strides they have made already, having won not one, but two national science fair prizes, designing egg hatching incubator, designing a plastic bottle house, and designing also a biogas digester. So we're in good hands. One would think that there's nobody doing science in a place that is as resource challenged as this, but indeed we find that innovation, frugal innovation, which is the mantra of this group, will definitely what we see. So I'm going to introduce you now to Bernard Rugot, who is a Mission Control Education Officer, one of our analog astronauts in training. He's also here with us, and I'll allow him to introduce himself. Please introduce yourself, Bernard.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bernard Rugut. I'm assisting in this mission. I'm in the Mission Control Department of Educational Outreach, making sure that all the information, all the things that we are doing here, each and everything that we are doing here, comes directly into you guys. We are going to update you in each and everything that we are doing. Yeah, we have the astronauts. There is a little problem, but we are getting back to them, and then they will update us on what they are doing, what they will be going to do today, what they did yesterday, how is their experiences, and everything. Thank you.
Actually, Bernard, as I was told by one of our newfound friends who works at Vast Space, that the communications challenges that we are experiencing here are very much unusual matter in space comms. And so perhaps we can ask you, as you are in constant communication with them by walkie-talkie, to kind of tell us about what has happened. So we first launched on Monday, October 13th.
Yes.
We had a delay with our launch. We were supposed to have loaded our astronauts at 6 p.m. Unfortunately, owing to some issues with the ventilation system, literally, and I must add that what you're seeing here is a replica of the habitat that was literally constructed by the astronauts themselves. So first of all, let us put that out there for the public to consume, that there's been very few, if any, analog habitats that were actually built by the astronauts themselves. And so I must commend the rover scouts from Machakas University for their fortitude in building this design. So with that, Bernard, talk to me about some of the challenges that we faced in getting the habitat really ready for entry. We had planned on a 6 o'clock entry. We began with an opening with Astra. We followed with, it gets very hot here from 12 to 3. And so we kind of went back underground, so to speak, from 12 to 3. And then we had another physical opening with the community.
Yes.
What would you say about that opening? Tell us about that opening.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Claire. I'm going to start with the time that we started building the habitat that the astronauts were using. We were here the entire time trying to fix everything, building this thing. Yes, we had the building the habitat needed a lot of time, because building the habitat itself is very challenging. The designing, everything starting from the foundation, going up step by step until we reach the maximum. So we delayed
Could you describe for them what it looks like, or do you have some pictures that I might share?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Claire. Yes, we have some pictures while we were designing until it stood firm like this one. So we are going to share with you guys each and every picture, starting with the foundation, starting the planning, when we started planning back before the coming to the ground, fixing the foundation, building each and every step. We have all the pictures. So we will create a doc and then send each and every picture while building this one, the challenges that we are facing, the sun, the weather here at Marsabit is very, very, very extremely hot. So building this thing with that weather was so much challenging. Like, we needed to drink a lot of water, but water here is scarce. So there is those challenges that we faced, but we managed to have the the minimal time to finish building this exile. And let me talk a little bit about the opening of this project with the community. That during the opening, it was extremely wonderful. It was very marvelous. Each and every we will send you the photos, the videos while we were doing the opening. We were streaming live. I know some of you guys were in there watching the opening. Those who are not there, we are going to share with you the photos and short videos while opening. You could have seen the smiles that were on the Gabra people, the community, us astronauts, the Girl Guides. Also, not forgetting the Machakos rover crew scouts. They were extremely very happy while we were launching with this project and everything. So the pictures, the videos, and everything I'm going to share with you guys each and every step of this project till right now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So he is giving you a very emotional response. But just to clarify, what we are living in is a replica of the habitat structure. Our habitat is a 7-celled hexayurt combination. We have 12-foot hexayurts. We have 6 of them surrounding a center hexayurt, which is 8 foot high. The design is meant to allow a feeling of spaciousness. The entry doorways, the hexayurt are built as 4x8s. And if you haven't seen a hexayurt, when you see the picture, you understand. The hexayurt are built 4x8, so the doors are less than 4 foot high. So you do have to bend to enter. However, when you come inside, you have a fairly spacious slope. And what we have done is designed a structure which we believe can be, in the first instantly, replicated for future research. For this structure, our first test was done in July, when many of the astronauts who were here, about 3 or 4 of them were here in July for International Moon Day, testing the site. They found out by using tents that tents would not suffice. We had thought about doing tents, but in addition to being hot, it's actually very windy. And so we've realized that the regular tents would not suffice. Our budget didn't allow us to put the heavy-duty military tents. And so we decided also to test building plywood-based hexayurts that would allow us to, first of all, be affordably do them with the budget we had. And secondly, affordably move them from Machakos University and Kabete Polytechnic, where they were built. And so now we are actually had a crew building them. What I think one of the challenges was underestimating the time it would take to replicate them. Nonetheless, as I said, we were delayed in entry from 6 p.m., which was our original idea of entering at 6 p.m., to around 11:30 p.m. before they actually went in. And so our complete full day of internal isolation began on Tuesday, the 14th. With that, I would like to say, I know what they have in mind. Coming up next will be the science experiments that they're expected to do as part of the world's biggest analog. There are quite a few human factors research that's being done. We are delayed in the start of our space heat experiment. We're still hoping that we can start and get some results before we leave. But we're very excited about the fact that we do have a lot going and have a lot more planned. So I'd like to bring on now, before we close, one of our partners, the Kenya Girl Guides Association. They're a partner. They were here when we got here to help usher us in. They were kind enough to send an advance person to make sure that when we came, we could very quickly have food. When they came in July, they had left behind supplies, so we would very quickly have food. And so we have with us a partner organization, Miss Agnes Angola, who represents the Kenya Girl Guides, who is our partner. So welcome, Miss Agnes Angola. Thank you for joining us here in mission control of the MWEZI 1 mission lunar analog of the world's biggest analog. Talk to me about the Girl Guides Association reason for becoming a partner for this historic mission.
Thank you, Dr. Claire. For the Girl Guides, we are really passionate about this and we are really excited. When Dr. Claire actually reached out to us, we were excited because we wanted to be part of this very, very great idea in Africa, and we wanted to be the trailblazers to encourage girls to take up courses around STEM, around astronomy, and also just designing the space badge, be the first people in Africa to design the space badge. In Kenya Girl Guide, we have so many member organizations within Africa, and we are very, very happy, Dr. Claire, that we are in this just to show the rest the way.
So tell me about how many girls are involved in the Girl Guides movement here in Kenya.
We are about 100,000 girls.
Wow. Of what ages?
Across 43 counties from age 3.
Wow.
Yeah. To until you die.
So once a guide,
always a guide, yes.
Right. So now, from your perspective, we talk about the space badge. So I take it that you envision, you share my vision that the idea of creating a space badge program for the Girl Guides in Kenya will be an entry point to ensuring that Girl Guides across Africa. Tell me about the Girl Guide movement just in East Africa alone.
So we are deeply connected within, let's say, the Africa region. And the connection is we do cross-country projects. We do joint activities across the African region. And currently we have Young Leaders International Youth Camp in Uganda that has drawn girls from Ghana, girls from Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, Malawi in the same space. So us being at the epicenter of it all, we are going to pull the Africa region together and ensure that this is also spread to the other African countries where we have guiding.
Well, thank you so much. We're very happy to hear that. I'm going to be hearing from you again in the course of the session. We do plan to have these briefings every day up until we leave here on October the 25th. So with that, we have been feverishly trying to raise the habitat to see if we could get them on. My understanding is that they're still offline at this moment. And so we'll have to see how we can get that corrected. But as I said, space comes is difficult. In Marsabit, communications is difficult. This is a reality of where we are. And this is exactly the reason why we chose Marsabit for the destination of the MWEZI 1 MWEZI habitat of the world's biggest analog. We're proud to be the first all-African crew, only African destination in this session, and we're really excited to know about this. We have been joined now by a special guest, Enanga Daisy Fale, and I'll bring her in as she might have some words to add. She was here in 2023 when we did our first scouting for this mission, and let me bring her up and see what she might add to this conversation. Enanga Daisy Fale, again, is one of our partners, is very much been a supporter of this process back in 2023 when we began this journey 2 years ago to make sure that we were not left behind in the world's biggest analog. We were intentional about trying to make sure that Africa was a part of it. So, Miss Enanga Daisy Fale, welcome. Could you tell us more about your memory of this process and what you're feeling now that you've seen us come alive in this space today?
Hello, Dr. Nelson. Thank you for inviting me to the platform. One of the things when I think about this particular process, with a background in systems engineering, and when we're thinking about what should the future missions be when we're exploring extended travel into space, what should we focus on from a research perspective? One of the things we really wanted to focus on are what are those requirements, those voices in terms of what should we be researching next. When we were in Kenya a few years ago, we had this ideation session where we brought different voices together to talk about what are some of the problems that you're trying to address in your community, and how can space be a catalyst to serve answering some of those problems. There was a team that went out to Mars a bit to look at the area, to understand what's happening in that area, some of the climate, and also just how people are living in that area starts to present opportunities to think about problems differently. Should we be exploring food, energy, just what does it mean to engage a particular community in this mission. And so, one of the things that I think is really, really critical is that when we're talking about the future of space, we're talking about engaging in future space missions. What are some of the different use cases and problems different communities have? And through this particular space analog, we have the opportunity to explore that. And that is something that I find really, really exciting.
Yes, I agree. And I can say to you, one of the most delightful finds we've had so far, there's a very food insecure region. And one of the things we had hoped to do is a space seed cabinet experiment. Unfortunately, it's still not yet cleared customs. But we found here among the school where we're embedded that there's a particular teacher that was able to win two national science prizes, one for a plastic bottle habitat of all things. So we're very excited about that. So the next time we may not have to actually use all this heavy wood. We may be able to just use a heavier frame and then fill in the walls with plastic bottles. But also he won for a egg incubator, a egg hatchery. And this will be
Hmm.
very important. What we hope to do with Machakos University, and one of our mission control members is actually an agriculture student. And we've asked him to think about, from his perspective as an agriculture student, how could he help to design a sort of a greenhouse experiment based on what he's observing in his next 10 days to go back to Machakos and put it on the agenda of the university, who could now partner with this elementary school so that we can make the elementary school a transformative learning space. I do believe that the opportunities that this partnership and this experiment has, the world's biggest analog, alongside what we will do outside of this process and following this process, and with organizations such as the National Society of Black Engineers, which is about to launch a chapter at Machakos University. I think we're able to do a lot in terms of developing different, I would say, parallel research streams and not be working in serial, because the African proverb says we can go further if we go together. So whether they're the agriculturalists, and we already have the Purple Air instrument here to do the beginner or climate monitoring. We have a big challenge in this area of dust inhalation and children having asthma and other these lung type of diseases. We want to be able to create some kind of indicator where the children can be told not to play outside on given days, or give them some kind of a cloth mask, because you can't afford to buy reusable masks all the time, but we can create something that the children can use when they're outside playing in this heavy dust. So these are things that already have come up as a result of us being here. Waste management. So we have a long way to go, but I'm just grateful. Any closing words before we close out this session? And again, this is our first press briefing. We hope to have one every morning, same time. We're also going to have in the evening what we call our commons, when we have dialogues around some of the big questions of our day, how we share the moon being one that's a driver. It's part of the ethics research and governance research of the project. We're also doing it as an internal research project for the Futures Forum Africa and the Futures Forum. And we want to build on the work we began last week in World Space Week in the African Parliament of the Future. So with that, any final messages you want to leave behind, Miss Enanga Daisy Fale?
Yes, and you just hinted on it, and it made me get really excited when you talk about how the work and conversations that you guys are currently having right now is spooling ideas on how to get those early career pre-college students interested in how they can leverage space to support health and wellness on Earth. And that is very, very critical in terms of, just as everybody is thinking about the experiments you're working on, the ideation in terms of what should be some of those future research topics, is that everything that we're doing, whenever we're looking at exploring space, there's an opportunity to look at how we're improving life on Earth. And in terms of NSBE, it's an opportunity to really look at engaging students and chapters and clubs on universities to help also tackle these problems. And so this is a great experiential learning opportunity that is going to pay forward, not just for our professionals, our collegiate population, but all the way down to our early career pre-college students. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We look forward to having you join us again when your time allows. I look forward to seeing you again. So with that, folks, we have come to the end of our session. And any closing words, Mr. Bernard? You are the communications director in training from Mission Control. Any closing words?
Okay, my my last words are for tomorrow. We are going to make sure we are going to create a poll today that tomorrow you are going to be part of this experiment. So we are going to engage you. We are going to create a poll that you are going to answer a few questions there. That you guys you will feel that you are part and parcel of this process, the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. All right. So with that, folks, thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Same time for press briefing. We hope to get more of media streams from especially from universities and NGOs who want to get involved. We want to really rapidly engage a community of interest, a community of practice around space research, and we're looking forward to that. Also tonight at 7 p.m. East Africa time, which is noon Eastern Daylight Time, we hope to come back to you and get more people on the East Coast of the United States of America involved in finding about how we share the moon. And this is MWEZI 1 habitat, the first and only lunar analog habitat in Africa, and the only African habitat participating in the world's been an analog. Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned. Follow this channel.